Today we're looking at changing improper fractions back into mixed numbers. So if you remember, a mixed number is a whole number and a fraction. An improper fraction is where the numerator is larger than the denominator. So if I were to do some shading in here, if I shade all of that in there, and if I shade in that one there, and I asked you how many quarters are there shaded, you would hopefully go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 quarters. Okay, if I wanted you then to rewrite that as a mixed number, you would say, well, I've got a whole one that is shaded, so that gives me my whole number, and then I've got 1 out of the remaining 4 shaded, so that gives me 1 1/4. Now, as we discovered yesterday, there was a quicker way of changing. There's also a quicker way of changing here today, because again, drawing out lots of diagrams, whilst for those of you who like art is a nice activity, it takes a long time. So this is how we do it then. We have our fraction 5 quarters, and what we do is we take the 4 and we see how many times it divides into the 5, and it goes in once. Then there's a remainder, because this doesn't divide exactly into that. There's a remainder of 1. And the number that we divided by, the denominator, stays the same. Okay, so 4 into 5 goes once, and there's a remainder of 1. So again, we'll look at some examples now whereby we just use the maths to deal with that, and of course I have some examples already prepared. So as we go through this then, I'm going to go through the same process with you for every single one. We take the 3 and we divide it into the 4, and that goes once. There's a remainder. There's a remainder of 1, so that becomes my numerator, and then my denominator stays the same. So when we look at it now, 3 goes into 4 one time. There's a remainder of 1, and my denominator is 3. And the same process is used throughout. 29 divided by 6, so we need to divide 6 into 29, and that goes 4 times. 6 fours being 24. That means there's a remainder of 5, so that 5 becomes my numerator, and my denominator of 6 stays exactly the same, so it gives me 4 5/6. When I look at this one here, the same idea again. Divide 2 into 7, that goes 3 times. 3 2s are 6. There's a remainder of 1, because it takes me to get 1 to get from 6 up to 7. And then my denominator stays the same. So 7 divided by 2 is 3. There's a remainder of 1, and my denominator stays the same. This one, exactly the same method. Do 37 divided by 10. That's 3. 3 tens are 30. Which means that there's a remainder of 7, and it's all over 10. On question number 5, 19 divided by 5, or how many 5s are in 19, it's exactly the same thing. Again, the whole number is 3, because 3 times 5 is 15, which means that there's a remainder of 4. So 4 becomes my numerator, and 5 is my denominator. So 19 divided by 5 is 3. 3 5s are 15. There's a remainder of 4, and then my denominator stays the same. On this final example, same method. 25 divided by 4 is 6. 6 4s are 24. There's a remainder of 1, and I divide by 4. Now, the important thing to note here is that my whole number is large enough for my fraction to fit next to it. Okay, that's important. And that's how you change an improper fraction into a mixed number.